Welcome to the kitchen. My name's Tracy and I haven't got Bryony here today. I'm sorry everyone. She's on annual leave and Hayley's in Europe somewhere. So I am all on my own apart from the cameraman. He's here too, of course. Of course he'd be here. So welcome to this week's midweek cooking show. And I'm going to show you how to do a congee, which is the most beautiful Chinese rice porridge, which when I first heard of it many years ago, I thought, rice porridge? That sounds horrible like that. How judgmental was that? Don't do that. It's naughty. So I'm going to show you how to make it because it is something that is really indicative to me of winter comfort food and very, very simple to make. So I got to thinking about how many people eat rice for breakfast in the world, and it's millions, isn't it? Didn't quite get to counting them all, but it is millions. So I thought, well, with rice, why can't we use the congee as a breakfast porridge? Thinking about the word porridge. So I think just to make a little bit of a change perhaps in people's routines, to have a breakfast congee would be really nice. The cameraman has been having it for breakfast since I tested it and took the photograph, and he's like given it the double whammy thumbs up. Really fantastic stuff. So I'm going to show you what I have done here because I have got the congee on. So we're going to talk about that first. I'm also frying off some bacon. As you can see, I want some nice crispy bacon on here. Just saying how much we love the Solid Technic pans, and a little bit of seasoning at the end of using them keeps them nice and unsticky. So they are absolutely fantastic. Even bacon, which has a there's a high chance that your bacon will actually stick even on a non-stick pan, won't it? So on these pans it is absolutely fantastic. I'll pop the bacon in and it didn't actually stick. So I'm just turning that down. I want that to crisp up really nice. We're going to put that on top of the congee. So a bit later on I'm going to be talking about what a classic congee is, but for today we're going to be talking about a breakfast congee. So please ask questions as we go along. If you're watching this live, would love to answer questions that you may have. And here we go with the actual explanation of it. This one's squeaking a bit, that one. So in my pan here, let's just bring it up to the simmer so that I can show you. I've actually made some homemade chicken stock. Now you can go to the shops, you can buy chicken stock if you want to, but I think the reason that I like this so much is when I was little I wasn't feeling very well, or if I was feeling well and everything was okay, my mum used to make homemade chicken soup for us, and there definitely is something beautiful about having homemade chicken broth from bones simmered away on the stove for a few hours. I think it's partly due to the fact that the aroma in the kitchen when you're making chicken stock just gives you, well, it gives me the most incredible feeling of being safe and secure, nurtured and loved. So if you want to use chicken stock bought and you haven't got time to make your own, go for it. I would definitely go for a small batch chicken stock like Mordo Kitchens, or if your butcher makes homemade chicken stock or something like that, go and give his a try or hers a try. So in here I started off with 1.5 litres of homemade chicken broth. I also put a teaspoon of salt flakes in here because when you make your own chicken stock, you don't season it with salt until the end of cooking or when you're actually using it in a dish, because as the stock cooks it will reduce down, and what was a perfectly seasoned stock at the start of cooking it, 2 or 3 hours later when it's reduced by about 1/4, could be too salty. So in here we had no salt whatsoever until I added a teaspoon of salt. Into that I then put broken rice. So this is jasmine rice, and it's you can buy it at the Asian supermarkets broken, which sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? Like, oh yes, I'd like to buy a bag of broken rice, please. But it is actually broken, and what happens is that it cooks down to this lovely sort of porridgey consistency. So if I pop some in my hand, you can actually see, or maybe the cameraman can get it on this. Is my hand in focus? I don't know. Yes, you can actually see that the rice is actually broken. So look, you could get a bag of jasmine rice and you could sit and break it all in half if you wanted to. you've got nothing else in your life to do, you can break your own rice. It's not hard to do, but it takes a long time. Or you can go out and buy a packet of broken rice. Or, hey, look, you know, really, you can use jasmine rice on its own. It breaks up at the end of cooking anyway, doesn't it? So you can just use jasmine rice. But the peculiar thing was that this week, or a couple of weeks ago when I decided to do this, oh, in goes a bit of bacon, that's right. I saw Adam Liao on his Instagram page post a picture of a congee that he'd made with brown rice, and it got me to thinking. I was like, you know what? You could put so many different things in here. So I think if you want to steer clear of the white rice syndrome, the high GI, in other words, when you've eaten this bowl of soup, you may feel that you're a little bit hungry quite soon after, although we are adding our protein. We've got eggs to go in there, we've got mushrooms, we've got spinach to go in there, but you could find that you are you need to eat quite a lot of this to actually feel really satisfied. So you can use brown rice in here. Now it's going to take a little bit longer to cook, so just keep your eye on it, because when it gets to this stage, when I started off, as I said, 1.5 litres of cooked rice, 1.5 litres of chicken stock. I haven't got Bri to say, you said that wrong. 1.5 litres of chicken stock, 150 grams of broken rice, or jasmine rice or brown rice, teaspoon of salt flakes. Simmer it for up to an hour. So it does take quite a long time for it to really break down, get porridge-like. When you've got to this stage, it's such a sweet little boiling. I've got the bacon sizzling as well. I'm just getting close so you can hear it. Boiling. It's so lovely. It's like someone's in the kitchen with you. So just, you can see that that rice has absorbed an awful lot of water already. So this has been going for about 40 minutes now, 45 minutes. And I'm just going to pop the lid back on, because we want to make sure that that rice really cooks and is lovely and soft, but we don't want to lose any more of that liquid. Otherwise what you'll get is a congee which is just a little bit too thick without any liquid in it whatsoever. So I want to make sure that I keep that liquid there. So looking at our bacon, by the time we finished the bacon, the mushrooms, and we finished poaching the eggs, the congee will be ready to serve as well. So the magic thing about congee is that you can make it the day before, or you can have it in the fridge and just, you know, ladle it out each day. It'll stay in the fridge for, I don't know, 5-6 days. So it really is a great thing to have in the fridge. You can have it for dinner. You don't have to have it for breakfast, but I'm just thinking of making breakfast a little bit more exciting. So you can cook the mushrooms in some butter if you want to, or you can cook them in some oil. So I'm just going to pop a little bit more oil in that pan. Same pan that I've fried the bacon in, of course, because we've got some lovely flavors happening in there. We'll add the mushrooms. I've just got these beautiful big field mushrooms. Mushroom time of year it is. Get those mushies into you. They are really fab and meaty and glorious. But, you know, whatever you like for breakfast, really. You could put cooked chicken meat in this if you didn't want to have the bacon. That's much more sort of an evening sort of congee idea. And then we've got our fresh spinach that we're going to add to that as well. So we'll leave those to simmer. I'm going to season the mushrooms. Sorry, leave those to fry a little bit. I'm going to season the mushrooms. A bit of salt and pepper. I'll just turn that up just a touch. And if we can get some nice colour on those, that would be absolutely fantastic. So let's go round to have a look at poaching the eggs now. Today, we just ran out of our charcoal springs eggs. So in front of the hundreds of thousands of people out there watching. A bit nervous about poaching these eggs because I don't know how they're going to go. They are free range eggs, but they're not our beautiful charcoal springs eggs. So we'll see how we go. They were bought yesterday, I think, and hopefully they'll still be nice and fresh. Anyway, let's poach these eggs, see what happens to them. So I've got some water that I have brought to a simmer. I'm just adding a little bit of apple cider vinegar. You can add white wine vinegar if you want to. Vinegar will help the egg white set really quite quickly and hopefully hold that egg together. I'm just going to check my congee. Just make sure that it's not sticking to the base of the pan. We're nearly there, actually. So bring that up to a little simmer. And make sure that my mushrooms are cooking as well. I've got the flame is going to be making that pot a bit hot there. Let's give these a little bit of a stir around. They'll all of a sudden sort of start breaking down and getting smaller, these mushrooms, as they lose a little bit of moisture. I love cooking, don't you? I love it. It's just I've been doing it all morning already and I'm still excited about the congee. Okay, so my pan is, the water is simmering and I've got the eggs and I'm going to break them in one at a time. Now, I forgot to take the eggs out of the fridge as well, so I just pop them in a little bit of warm water with the shell on to take that chill off them, because anything that is gone from a very cold temperature to a very hot temperature, that's quite a thermal shock, and it does give everything, just tighten everything up a little bit. So we'll just pop the first egg in, see how. Not quite charcoal springs, are they? And let's pop it in egg number 2, because if you think about did you hear me touch then? If you think about having this on a very high boil when you put the eggs in, it's going to just completely change the egg white will just you can see, is the cameraman, have you got a top shot? Yeah, you can see how they're spreading out. So we'll bring this slightly up to, you can see that the water is just simmering. Actually, we're all right there. We're all right. You can see that the water is just simmering. Am I making this look really hard? I probably am, aren't I? So we'll leave those little eggs to do their own thing there. They'll be perfectly all right. Let's finish this off. And now, for talking about congee for dinner, if you want congee for dinner, it's sort of like, I've just thought of this, just that second then. I don't know whether you saw that, but a little thought popped into my mind. Like, this is like Asian risotto, isn't it really? Amazing. So it's not porridge, like it could be called Chinese risotto, couldn't it? Well, that's a bit of funny fusion, isn't it, really? So, look, we're literally done because we've still got some liquid in there. The rice is cooked through, and we're just, you can see that it's more porridge-like now, even with the 10 minutes that I've just been chattering away. So, Chinese congee, if you're making it for dinner and you don't want it with these more sort of Western flavours of eggs and bacon and mushrooms and spinach, then cook it like this. You can add, at the end, you can add some, a little bit of sesame oil on the top. Ginger while it's cooking is really, really nice as well. I'm just going to use some tongs here. Ginger while cooking is great, and as it's simmering in there, so you can just pop in some julienne of ginger if you want, or some grated ginger into that. The other thing, when once you serve it up, or you add your chicken, so you can, like, you know, you could actually poach a whole chicken, make your stock while you're poaching your chicken, and then take off all the meat off the chicken. Then you've got your chicken already there to put in your congee at the end. Chop it all up, pop that in your congee, and some soy sauce on the top, which we're going to be putting on the top as well, because that goes really well. But ginger is a fantastic thing. I've said that though, haven't I? I'm just going to check my list because I had to write it down. The other thing on top of it, which would be really nice, is crispy fried shallots. So you can buy those at the Asian supermarkets if you want to. Just try and buy them perhaps in cooked in vegetable oil rather than palm oil. So read the label on those. And the other thing is called Dao Chow Kueh. And they are fried breadsticks. So they're They say that they're sort of similar to donuts in a way, but I think fried breadsticks is probably a better way of describing them. You can buy them in Asian supermarkets there again, and they are the most incredible, incredibly addictive and gorgeous, crunchy sort of bread, flaky things to put on top of your congee. They're absolutely amazing. I'm going to turn this off now because they'll just be done. And so you can pop that on the top as well, which is very lovely texture. And so you can also put crispy fried shallots, the dao chow kueh, cooked chicken, sesame oil, a few spring onions on the top as well, and while you're cooking it. So it really is a very, very delicious meal and can be quite filling and quite nicely sustaining. All right, so I'll give this a little taste because we need to taste as we go along. The other thing that we use broken rice for in the cooking classes is when we do like little rice squares to go with satay sticks as well. So, oh my gosh, that's so delicious. Although I say it myself, I made the chicken stock and it's absolutely, I could just eat that like that. Oh, delicious. Okay, so let's serve the congee into the bowls. Now, I've said that this serves 4 to 6 people. It just depends on how much congee you can eat in one sitting, really, doesn't it? Because this is going to just about serve 2, isn't it? If I do it in such massive bowls, you've got to be, I think, really hungry to eat this much congee. But I just thought it would look actually quite nice in these bowls. So there we go. So there's the congee on its own. Let's make sure that we get this right. And the spinach and mushrooms are now done. That's wilted. They'll be absolutely delicious. They'll be ready to go. And let's get those eggs out of the poaching water before they go hard. Good idea, Trace. See, Bryony, I need you. So, I don't know whether she's watching. She might. Oh, she is watching. Am I doing all right, Bri? So here we go. Here's a nice little poached egg here. I'm just going to take the swirly bits off like that. Don't really want those bits. All right, so let's pop that in the center. And I'll get one more out. Like this. Just like to just take off the excess water off those eggs. Let's turn this off. I'm warm enough already. And I'll put a little pile of spinach and yummy mushrooms in there. Like that. Got to get some greens into you. Such a mummy, aren't I? Got to get some greens into you. So there we go. That's that. And then I'm going to finish off. Oh, heavy, heavy. Finish off with some bacon, crispy bacon on the top. Let's move our rice out of the way. So you can keep this warm in the oven. I didn't, but there we are. Keep that warm in the oven. Crispy bacon on the top. Absolutely delicious. Breakfast is ready. And a little bit of soy sauce over the top of that, because we love it. A little bit of Chinese light soy sauce. And there you have your divine breakfast congee. And I tell you what, wake up in the morning, get your stock and your rice on, do your shower and your bits and pieces, have a cup of coffee while it's cooking, and then you can serve all the other bits and pieces up. I don't know whether my eggs are still soft in the center. No, they're not. There we go. Let's not cut those eggs open then and have the egg yolk flowing all over the congee. Let's not do that in this today. But you'll obviously have a much nicer egg than me, because you won't be talking and teaching all these people who are watching. So I think we might have a question from the cameramans looking like that.
Sally's saying, looking forward to hearing you on the ABC tomorrow morning.
Oh, thank you, Sally. She said, looking forward to hearing me on the ABC tomorrow morning. Yes, I'll be talking about getting kids to eat a little bit more, a wider variety of food, let's say. Yes, encouraging the kids to eat more.
Faye is saying, loving the Cooks Collective.
Oh, thank you, Faye. Faye's loving the Cooks Collective. Good on you, Faye. I think we've had a lot of people coming back to us recently. We've had a lot of new members recently, a lot of people coming back saying that they're thoroughly enjoying it. So we're really glad. We want to know what you guys want. So always keep up the communication with us, won't you?
Kathleen, looks delicious.
Thanks, Kathleen. Says it looks delicious. I think everyone will love this. It's very easy.
Karen, my brekkie staple.
And Karen said it is her brekkie staple or it will be her brekkie staple. Whatever. It's just an absolutely fantastic thing. Breakfast, lunch or dinner. There you go. Easy congee. Have it the Chinese way. Have it the breakfast matters of taste way. And I've forgotten what we're cooking for next week. Bri could tell me. Oh, one more question.
Well, it's a statement.
Statement.
I have never wanted to eat congee until this minute.
Oh, how sweet. I've never wanted to eat congee until this minute, Jan has just said. Thank you, Jan. Well, it is very delicious. I can promise you that. It's absolutely stunning. So thank you very much for watching. I believe next week, I know that we're going into soups. We may have a tomato soup with Parmesan croutons, I think, next week. If not, then tune in to see exactly what it is. But don't miss my interview with Matthew Evans as well this coming Friday at 12:30 live stream. If you're watching on Facebook, live stream on Facebook, 12:30 in the kitchen here. We've got Matthew Evans talking about his new book, which I have right here, on eating meat. Oh my goodness, what a conversation starter this book is. So if you haven't got yourself a copy, go out and get it, because I think if we all read this, the world would be a kinder place. So thank you so much for watching this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. The recipe is now online for 7 days or on the Cooks Collective. You can get it at any time on the Cooks Collective with the video. So we look forward to seeing you next week at 12:30 here in the kitchen.